Welcome to the Industrial Talk Podcast with Scott MacKenzie. Scott is a passionate industry professional dedicated to transferring cutting-edge, industry-focused innovations and trends while highlighting the men and women who keep the world moving. So put on your hard hat, grab your work boots, and let's go.
All right, once again, welcome to Industrial Talk, the #1 industrial-related podcast in the universe that celebrates industry professionals all around the world. You are bold, brave, you dare greatly, you innovate, you solve problems, and that's why we celebrate you on Industrial Talk, because you're worthy of that celebration. You're the hero in this story. We are, again, broadcasting Fluke Reliability. Xcelerate 2024 is the event here in Orlando, Florida, and it is a collection of people who are passionate about solving the challenges of today's industry. That's where we stand. In the hot seat, Torsten. He is super flexible and kind, because we had some technical glitches, but he was kind. He's that type of a guy. Let's get cracking. Yeah, thanks again. Live by technology.
Yeah.
Die by technology. And I was dying by technology in a miserable way. But we got it. We're going to capture this. All right. For the listeners out there, give us a little background on who you are.
Yeah, thank you, Scott.
Again,
yes. So my name is Torsten Seehaus. I have been with Fluke for the past 10, maybe even 15 years in the industry. Had several roles in product management, in sales, across multiple different product lines and industries, which we're taking care of. And then we acquired Azima, DLI, 6 months ago. And with the acquisition, I stepped in the role of leading this business full time. So I've been doing this since August last year.
It's an exciting time. I love that product. What does DLI stand for?
Those are the names of the founders,
no
which I can't recall anymore. It's DNL probably 60, 70 years ago. So
yeah.
Everyone is using DLI, and so that's the...
I just use Azima.
Azima,
that's
yeah,
for sure.
It's easier.
Yeah, okay, so take us through what Azima is.
Azima is a business really focused on measuring vibration to provide customers insights on when something could go wrong with their machines. They've been doing this for probably 60 years now. Started out with the US Navy on some of the aircraft carriers. Back then everything was very manual. People were on board reading measurements, then trying to get the data on a piece of paper and analyzing data, providing a report back to the customer to understand what should be done, what might break in the future. They expanded the business into commercial applications, so manufacturing first and foremost. Lots of applications, food and beverage, oil and gas, refineries, multiple different industries. And there they've been really successful in expanding the business. So now they have a lot of customers relying on Azima to provide them insights early on what could go wrong, so they don't have to wait until something breaks or just have maintenance and might not even be necessary. So making sure customers are doing something at the moment in time when it's important.
Yeah, sort of paint that picture, that use case that Azima fills. It's like it has a data lake, it has substantial information that is embedded in it. So take us through what that means.
So think about a data lake. So it's data which Azima collected over decades, essentially, from a multitude of different machines. So most likely 80% of the machines out there provided data to Azima. The types of machines, not every machine out there, but the types of machines which are out there. So that means that with all the data they have on what could go wrong, vibration data, there's a pretty good insight on predicting what a similar machine might be doing at a different site, a different customer. So they can draw on all this knowledge they gained over the time to make sure that when they provide insights to customers of similar machines, they are mostly accurate. So you want to avoid these what's called false positives and false negatives. So you don't want to do something when there is no need to. You don't want to change a bearing on an expensive machine if there's no need. But you also want to make sure you do it if it's required.
The information, the data that exists within Azima, it was accumulated over many years.
Right.
Is there data in there that is just a target and say, hey, we need that information to be a part of Azima 2 as well? We're just going to go and put that in there. Does that exist too?
Not yet. It's an interesting thought model for the future, because vibration is only one element of how you can measure and predict something could go wrong. There are other measurements out there. Azima has been squarely focused on vibration and nothing else. But of course, there's more we'd like to add in the future. But right now, the data lake itself is vibration measurements.
But the people's understanding of AI is clear. It's like, okay, I feed this information into this AI model, and then it sort of tells me information. But this is a different sort of application. It does the same, however, it still requires that human intervention.
It does. So you're throwing something into the model, in this case data, and you get a response out of the model, which is saying, based on what I'm hearing and what I'm seeing, most likely you will have an issue with some bearing or some other failure which might occur. The AI part comes in when everything is automated. So many of the failures can be automated already. So around 60 to 70% of the failures don't need any human intervention to tell the end user something is wrong. There are moderate, let's say severe failures where you want to have a human analyst looking it over, because it might be an expensive machine. You don't just want to react on what the model tells you. In the future, maybe our goal is to increase automation level, so you want to maybe automate 90% if possible. But most customers value the ability of having someone to speak to look at the data again before they make some very significant and expensive maintenance decisions.
So the user interface of Azima, I'm gonna paint this picture. I go out there with a diagnostic tool. I measure the vibration on a rotating piece of equipment. It records that vibration for a period of time. I take that data and then I can just define what the rotating piece of equipment is. Here is the results of my test, and that's where it really does its magic. Is that how it works?
Yeah, almost. One of the inputs which is required initially is telling the model what kind of machine are you measuring. So there's a setup phase initially. So when you think about an installation, you will always go through the entire setup, and you will tell the model, what I'm measuring here belongs to a certain type of machine. It's a fan, it's a motor, it's a compressor. So the model already knows exactly what type of machine is being measured, and it's pulling data from the data lake, which have a similar kind of machine type.
Does it get down to the level of specific models and nameplates, and it's like, okay, this is a Model X, motor Y, whatever, and then be able to sort of let the magic happen?
Yes, that's exactly what it does. Correct.
And then once it's in there, right, then you can have the luxury of automating it, so where you don't have to set it back up. It's already in there. It knows that the information that I'm pulling off it could be a device pulling off the vibration details, feeding it into the system, and then being able to have that sort of notification that I'm a vibration technician, and I'm going to say, oh, it's telling me that I got to look at this, or there's something to be said about that asset.
That's correct. So you will have, once it's set up, and we have multiple customers who've been using the system for 10 years or more, once it's set up, you never go back, or you change the machine or do something else. But if the machine stays the same, or the piece of equipment stays the same, you will never tell the model again what type of equipment the model is looking at. It will always use the information, what has been recorded initially, and then it will measure vibration, and it will not only give the customer information about something might go wrong, it will tell the customer exactly what will go wrong and when. So it will say, your bearing needs to be changed in 28 days from now. So customers have more time to plan maintenance, but it will give you specifics on what action needs to be done. Not only that something is wrong and then go check it out, it's actually giving customers insights immediately, saying something is wrong, and exactly this is what's wrong, and this is what you need to do.
So it gets into that detail. It's like I'm looking at this vibration result, and it can determine, it appears to be this particular problem and give that sort of indication. And in that indication of the problem, I'm able to say, okay, so I need a bearing, I need whatever it might be, and I can prepare for the maintenance of it. It might be critical, where you better get on it now or yesterday, versus something that is predicted in a month.
Yeah, exactly. What we want to avoid on the Azima side is you have to do it now. I mean, this is where customers, that's why they don't like.
You don't like that.
Yes, correct. So customers don't like it. They don't want to be surprised with any of that.
Right.
What I would like to hear is, and sometimes we can predict in the future, like next year. So we see something which is initially starting to occur.
Oh, you can?
Yes. And based on the data lake, we know exactly how long it took for other types of equipment to get to the same stage. So you want to have a prediction which is telling the customer, we see something, you don't have to act on it, it's still working.
Right.
But most likely, in a year from now, 9 months from now, there's something to be done.
So if you haven't seen it, fortunately for me, you didn't catch it on camera, but my lights are flying over because the doors are open outside and they're blowing in. So, but you didn't see it, but I had to tell you about it. Where do you see it going? Where do you see it evolving? Like, what is it? I know you got to get it into. I mean, there's got to be more customers. Get more familiar with it. Where do you see it going?
And that's exactly what we see right now, is getting it more familiar with customers who are more reacting to issues. I have to do it now, or we have time-based maintenance where they are saying, I'm going to change something in 6 months from now. I always do it every 6 months, which might not be even necessary. So this is a big market, right? Just getting these customers to the next level and making sure they use predictive maintenance to their benefit, because it avoids downtime, it saves maintenance costs, so there are lots of benefits. What we can see here at the conference right now is we have multiple different opportunities for growth and for developing future products. So now, making it even easier, people who are at the front line who do the maintenance, they might not necessarily like to look at vibration data. So right now we are giving them the insights.
That's a rare breed, just FYI.
It's a rare breed, yes. So, correct. So these people, now we give them not only insight what needs to be done, but also when it needs to be done. And what's happening. So now they still get the information, but now they have to act on it. So that means they might use their CMMS system, their work order management system. Someone has to type something in there for someone to do something. So that's again an automated piece, and now you put a human in between again, manual step, there are failures. The work order has to be executed. How do we know it has been executed? We don't know yet. So there's a link between what we can do now from a vibration perspective, sending out work orders when they need to be sent out, and checking back the work order has been done, checking did it really fix the issue? So the model can learn from itself, was my prediction again correct? Did it solve the issue, yes or no? And so we can actually adapt the model again. So you have more feedback loops in the future as well.
See, that's pretty interesting, because I think the real, along with a lot of things, but I think the real point of is being able to know how to plan your work proactively at the right time, with the right equipment, with everything, and it just happens. You don't get into this backlog, misery that so many companies are in. It happens. It generates the work order at the right time for the right piece of equipment. Boom, done, and you're directing your work in such a way, and the people who do the work more effectively.
You do. People and also inventory, right? If you have larger customers on multiple sites, you don't have spare parts in all the locations for all the equipment you might have to service. Some customers are across several regions and countries, and so it's even further away. So how do you get the right spare part in place at the right time. It's the other thing. So you might actually be able to lower your inventory cost.
I love it. You were fantastic, and you were super flexible.
Thank you.
Did you like the award ceremony?
I did, yeah. It was really great. So seeing all these customers up there getting their awards, yeah, definitely.
I love it. How do
Great
people
stuff.
get a hold of you? You out on LinkedIn?
I am on LinkedIn, yes. You can find me out there. And of course, LinkedIn, I think the best place.
It's probably the best place. Absolutely. All right. Thank you for your flexibility.
Okay, no,
really appreciate
thank
it.
you.
All right, listeners, we're going to have all the contact information for Torsten out in Industrial Talk, so fear not. Reach out to him. We'll have his stat card out there. We are broadcasting once again. Fluke Reliability, Xcelerate 2024. It's a wrap. It's a wonderful event. Put this on your calendar for next year. You will not be disappointed. Thank you very much. We will wrap it up on the other side. Stay tuned. We will be right back.
You're listening to the Industrial Talk Podcast Network.
All right. His name is Torsten. Fluke Reliability is the company. Xcelerate 2024 was the event. And the solution is Azima. Cool stuff. That conversation was chock full of great information. You gotta love it. You gotta just love the fact that we have this platform to be able to highlight these incredible solutions to help you succeed. Vibration AI. What can you... Try to throw something at that, man. That is just doggone cool stuff. Azima. Check it out. Go out to Fluke Reliability and find out more. And reach out to Torsten. You won't be disappointed. Building a platform. You have a podcast, put it on Industrial Talk. You have a solution, let's highlight it on Industrial Talk. You need to succeed. That's what this platform is all about. Be bold, be brave, dare greatly. Hang out with Torsten, and you will change the world. We're going to have another great conversation shortly.